Right guys, I'm back. I've had something to eat, I've had time to calm down and get the initial excitement out of the way. To have a proper think about it. So, out the box, there was only one issue, and the rubber boot that goes over the rear centre CVD wasn't on correctly. That was pretty much it. Everything was solid. One thing I am surprised by though is the light bar. I thought it was metal, but it's actually plastic all the way through. And looking at it, it should fit a normal DBXL. That's shockingly. So, I still love it. It's still absolutely amazing. I'm just going to spend the next couple of days getting all the niggly things out of the way, which is changing the oil in the centre diff, checking the oil in the front and rear diff, because I've been told by a few people that sometimes they're a little bit underfilled, fitting the Futaba radio system that I've got out the Baja, because I'm not keeping this Spectrum one. The stock radio, it's a DX2E, and it is so piss poor. For the money this costs, this is the epoxy radio they give you. I've literally got a volume button, steering and throttle reverse, trims, and a dial for the AVC. That's it. No endpoint adjustments, nothing. And again, for something that costs this much, it's a really crappy radio to put in there. Looks wise, it looks in another price league to the DBXL. The chassis is anodised black and the additional braces, and it looks much more higher end because of it as well. It looks like a high-ish end buggy now. The DBXL one was always this horrible greeny, creamy, crappy colour, and it looked cheap. I don't like the grey bead locks. I do like black bead locks. So I am going to try some spare ones that I have lying about. Hopefully they fit. If they do, I'll be very happy. If not, I'll get some ordered. But I'm going to get the Max wheels anyway, just for a bit more extra grip on grass. Should probably scour eBay for, a remote switch for the light bar. It does look good in the dark and when it's, when the light's dropping, but I don't think I really want it on during the day. I don't want to have to keep on unplugging it to do it. But the big ones, the run times, between 13 and 14 minutes, hammering it. Now I've been speaking to, as I said on Facebook, a few guys on the ALX group. They're getting about the same run times. For this, in terms of power, it's not at the 71cc or the 78cc performance, but it's probably around the level of, I think, the 48cc, the ALX 48. Most guys are saying that with that tuned in on a decent carb, it gets about the same amount of runtime as this is getting on an open field. So when you look at performance runtime ratio, it's roughly where it should be when you look at the two-stroke engines, the big engines. Obviously runtimes are a lot lower than a smaller bore two-stroke, but you're getting much more performance than you ever will out of one of these little small bores. My OBR in the Baja, 29.5, it's a really strong engine, performs really well, but it's not even in the same league as the brushless system in this. So I will be looking at battery options. I should probably aim for about 9 or 10,000 mAh. Double the capacity should, in theory, give double the run times. So I can live with that. Hop-ups. It doesn't really need a lot. I should probably look at getting a bigger pinion. I think stock on Facebook, on YouTube, these are doing about 47, 48 mile an hour on 8S. One guy chucked a 16 tooth pinion on, got it to 59. So I should keep an eye on the motor temps. I haven't actually measured the temps on the motor yet. I had a quick feel when I got it back, and it was alright. It was warmish, but it wasn't overly warm or overly hot. So I think there is some headroom in there for a bit of extra speed. But overall, it is very impressive. It's very weird seeing something this big not making a 2-stroke noise. But when you give it some and you squeeze the trigger full from a standing start, you know, you don't miss the 2-stroke after that. In terms of the smaller scales, it's hard where to put it. It's not as batshit crazy as an 1/8 scale on 6S, but it's got more power than an 1/8 scale on 4S, so it's kind of in between. If you take the average truggy or average 1/8 scale buggy, you know, and kind of think between, you know, say 5S, equivalent 5S, that's pretty much what this is like in terms of performance. Which for something that weighs about 15, 16 kilos, it's quite a thing. And that's only with kind of an entry-level brushless system. It's by no means a high-end system. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting time with this. I have absolutely no regrets at all. I should have bought brushless a long time ago. But one of the things that always bugged me was changing the lipos. Changing them in the bar hole with the cage on would be a ball ache. It's the same with the low C5. Having to take the cage off to change the lipos. Pain in the arse. This thing, flip top, piece of piss. So I think this is probably, you know, the way to get into 5th scale brushes at the minute, this particular one. Out of the box, it's pretty much fine. A few setup issues. Ride height's a bit tall for me. Steering, turning's a bit crap, but I think that's an endpoint issue on the crappy radio they give you. But I am absolutely over the moon with it. Even hop-ups, it doesn't really need a lot. I should probably get the odd few. Maybe some axle extenders. You know, maybe some aluminium chassis braces and shock towers, but not a lot. Nowhere near as much as I think I'd have probably spent on a petrol DBXL. So let's show you the top anyway. It's literally just a lot of space. Now let me unhook my phone for a little bit. I'm using a phone to record videos now as well. And a little tripod. So here she is. That motor is freaking huge. In fact, where's my rustler gone? It is. Here's my rustler. So not only can you see a 10 scale versus a 5th scale, but if I show you the rustler motor on the rear end, this is a bit awkward. So hopefully you can see it, but there's the 10 scale 540 rustler motor next to this motor. It is an absolute beast. You know, that's directly above it now. It dwarfs it. It is absolutely humongous. Chuck him on the floor. So now, really clean layout. That's the boot that wasn't quite on properly. But that's one thing I've always liked on the DBXL, is that everything's booted. That I don't like. That is just cheap and shit. There's no excuse for still using one of those on it. Shocks are nice. I think a guy on one of the Losi videos, Horizon Hobby, said they've revised the shocks. They've changed the internals. So, who knows? ESC needs a bit of tweaking. I think stock BEC voltage is 6 volts. I'm going to change it to 8.4 just to get a bit more power out of this servo, I think. But yeah, other than that, guys, it's so far so good. I'm going to get the receiver out of it now. So I'm not going to put any more packs in it. It's nearly 8 o'clock now. Just looking at half an hour to charge. About 8:30. So yeah. So stay tuned for more videos.